Hello, it's Mark with our Museum of Us, Chapter 23, what I call adding value to museums together. And my daughter did an illustration about coins because it really gets to a point that I think coins are a pretty good example of what is possible in terms of helping each other, adding value. But first, this chapter has sort of a bigger purpose in my mind. When families don't get along and don't agree on how to deal with stuff, the people that I've interviewed, it's very clear it can go south and sour and stay there for the rest of our lives. There's one story in there about a family that disagreed about land and stuff on the land that owned to their dad and who would get what. True story. And all I can say is that you have to get ahead of that curve. And so I'm going to give you an example of what that would look like, sound like, feel like. Even in the joke that I made in there, which is just a joke from Maine, I love it, where the two brothers are not getting along. As long as we agree not to get along, that could be the way it is forever. And so we don't get to reconcile after one of us or both of us pass, and then the stuff that's attached to that conflict just becomes a humongous burr under the saddle. And so there's just no winning in that process. I am going to recommend the mediation process. I'll talk about that at the end. But let me give you an example of what it could look like. And again, this was not my idea. It was just one that I noticed in talking with people. One of the things that we all tend to do are have coin collections and, where we keep our coins and etc. And some of us have, these are from our father, have coin collections that go way, way back, just, for the habit of keeping nickels and dimes and different things and etc. And so as long as that's the way they stay, then you end up with these, and that's it. That's the thing that you get passed on. That's not even a museum of me, really. It's just sort of coins I used to collect. But the idea is, as an example, take something that is collected like that and say, what can we do to add value to it? What can we do to work together to make it more bright, more positive, more useful? I talked about this in the gun chapter where my father and I took the old British Enfield that he had, that he gave it to me. We fixed it up and then we gave it to my nephew, his grandson, as a way of passing it along in the family. But we didn't just dump it. We didn't just wait until Dad passed. He's still alive, doing great. We added value to it, and that's what I would propose here. And in this case, the added value could be to take those old coins and together curate them, upside down, and curate them into coin collections that become something that are organized, that are something we did together. And then for when it comes to who gets the coins, it's not just things in a bowl or a medicine bottle, pill bottle. It's things that we did together. We did this together to add value to it. So I just would hold this out, not as the perfect example, but an example of what we can do with stuff together. So instead of this, you get this, and we did it together. And that's what I mean by adding values to something together. Let me come back to mediation. There will be conflict almost predictably. It's almost, I can't think of a situation where there has not been the potential for conflict. And there have been families that I've talked to in which the conflict is settled quickly because they attach more value to their relationship to than the stuff. And you could finish the rest of what I'm about to say, but there is a tool. You can go to lawyers and settle things out legally, but before that, you might consider mediation and mediators. A mediator's purpose is to bring people together, find out what their two different goals are, try to resolve the conflict in a way that both feels like it's a win-win. So there are mediation groups in every state. I'm part of the one here in Texas, and I couldn't say enough nice things about what a mediator's goal is. The costs are substantially lower than an attorney, and it's not a finite outcome like in a legal decision. It's more of a gentle people's agreement in terms of what we can do. So that is one strategy, but I would just come back to this idea that if proactively you do something together with the stuff to fix it up, to curate it, to make it better, and record the stories like this about what it is, that when you hand over the thing, we've already agreed to that long time ago, and we're happy, and we did it together, and we've not only physically created a museum of us, but we've also curated by talking on the digital storying as well. So that's what I would suggest for getting and what I call adding value to museums before the natural process without being proactive, without curation. And it's really, really sad, but don't let it happen to you. Go ahead and work together with your family and friends to make this stuff ours, something that we all cherish and value because we've put our hands on it and talked about it together. Great luck with that.